Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crypto Coin Mindset. Holy cannoli. I got a lot of people jumping in here right now. Appreciate that very much. And we are going to watch the FOMC meeting live. That is scheduled to start in about 25 minutes. So by all means, please stick around. If you're new here, which I know a lot of the people that are jumping in right now are new, I'd appreciate it if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, tick that bell icon, click the all. That way you get notified every time I go live. And or drop a great video. This channel primarily talking about cryptocurrency, and even though we're watching the FOMC meeting today and going to listen to what Powell's got to say, I'll put in my 2 cents because you know how much I enjoy putting in my 2 cents. We're gonna go ahead and do that, and we're gonna talk crypto. Go take a look at the crypto markets. Matter of fact, that's how we're gonna start out right now, taking a look at the crypto markets while we're waiting for Chair Powell to go ahead and jump on and bore us with his shit. Anyway, cheers. I decided to get myself a little bit of a beverage today because that's about the only way to listen to the FOMC meeting. And we will jump into the markets right now. Again, make sure you hit that like button, smash it up. Appreciate that. I can see I've got some people on Facebook. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Appreciate that very much. All right, let's take a look. Get this added to the stage. CoinGecko here. We're going to go, like I said, we're going to just go check the markets out before we go over to Jerome Powell. So that's coming in. Hang tight. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency space. And feel free, jump in the comments, ask whatever questions you have. I can see I've got well over 100 people sitting here on YouTube. So jump right in there. Throw in whatever questions you want. I'll give you my 2 cents. Like it or leave it. All right, Bitcoin, 69,322. About the same as it was this morning when I did my live stream, when we were talking about, okay, what's going on? Are they going to cut rates? You know, what's the deal? But again, up considerably from yesterday, about 3.6%, as you can see here, when it was down in that 66K range. And Ethereum down even a little bit from this morning, not much, 35.88, and overall down 5.5% over the last week. Let's look at BNB. Still down 10% over the last 7 days, but looking pretty good at 626. Again, as I say, a thumb to the eye of Gary Gensler and the SEC and the DOJ, everybody who is sitting there trying to put their thumb down on the scale of the cryptocurrency space. So anyway, Solana down still about 9.5%, 157.52. Even though it's down, this is going to be a definite player in this particular cryptocurrency cycle. All right, what else we got here? XRP still below 50 cents. Good buying opportunity, if you ask me. Again, you see it right there. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, old guy interwebs. But in my humble opinion, again, you know how humble I can be, I think that XRP, decent buy at this price. Cheers. Okay, Dogecoin, still below 15 cents. I'll tell you what, if you're looking to get Doge, it's going to end up being a player in the cycle. I don't think it's going to do as good as some other meme coins, but if you're looking for the steady, then maybe this is what you're looking for. And there have been a lot of talk about a potential Dogecoin ETF. Do I believe that? Not really. But it could happen. We got an Ethereum ETF without having to deal with, taking Gary Gensler to court. Although, it is what it is with regard to Gary Gensler and the cryptocurrency space. Let's just keep clipping along here because we got about another 20 minutes before Gensler starts doing his Gensler. I got Gensler on the brain before Powell starts doing his thing. Cardano, still not bad, 43 cents. They got a hard fork coming up. Mentioned that briefly this morning. So, yeah. I think that Cardano's still a good buy. I think it's going to do extremely well in this cycle, and especially if everything goes smoothly with the hard fork. That hard fork right now, as I'm aware, is scheduled toward the end of this month, the end of June. So I'll keep you up to date on that as things happen. But let's keep going through the market before Powell gets on here. Let's see. Avalanche still pretty much a split, up almost 8% today, down just over 8% over the last 7 days, 33.50 for AVAX. And I'm going to tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, great deal, great buy for AVAX at that price. Tron basically has become a stable coin like Justin Sun. Hate Justin Sun, doesn't really matter. Facts are, here he is, pretty much a stable coin, solid in that 11-cent range. Chainlink took a major hit in the pullback that we had yesterday in the cryptocurrency space. Look down to 1601, but again, you know that I think anything under $20 in the Chainlink to buy Chainlink is a good buy. So still, as far as I'm concerned, good buy for shit, and save your Bitcoin. And pretty much a split decision here, 460.07. And I love to see Uniswap back up over $10. Another thumb in the eye to Gary Gensler and his Wells notice to Uniswap. So screw him. What else we got? Polygon, Matic. Again, you know this is one that I think anything under $1 for this, goodbye. Right now, 64 cents. Litecoin, again, another one of those cryptocurrencies. I think you use it for what it's meant to be used for. And 78.41, decent buy. Pepe, big gainer when we had Roaring Kitty come back with the GME and GameStop and AMC stocks, and all that was happening. Pepe was a big recipient of a lot of money coming into the space. It's drawn back with the rest of the market, but still not looking pretty shabby. But I think Pepe is going to be one of the bigger players as far as meme coins are concerned in this particular bull cycle. My humble opinion. What else have we got here? We got Caspa coming in. Now, I'll tell you what, for those of you who do not already know, I am on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time on the Matrix Money podcast. Myself, Crypto Jar, and FF are on there. The link to join the Matrix Money podcast is in the description of this live stream. We touch on all kinds of things. If you're into cryptocurrency mining, if you're into node projects, if you are into the macroeconomic scheme, if you are into anything that affects the cryptocurrency space, we touch on it in the Matrix Money podcast, including security issues. And we touched on a recent hack on the, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Like Exchange, LYKKE, and the potential or the attempted cover up of that information by the people running it. So if you did not see that, go ahead, check out the Matrix Money podcast. We just did that podcast yesterday, so you can check it out there. We talked about it. I was having some serious technical difficulties, as I was this morning. Matter of fact, anyone that was joining me this morning, thank you for all of your patience through the technical difficulties. I've changed a couple of things here, so hopefully I won't have any of those same issues here on this particular live stream. So far, everything is looking solid, and I'm glad to see that. But we're going to get back to the markets here again, because Powell should be on in about 15 minutes. So cheers. All right, let's get back to these markets. So Caspa looking solid, definitely a favorite of Crypto Jar, and looking really good right now. Looking really good, up over 17 cents. Looking really good. Render is one of the projects that you can vote on every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Crypto on the Rocks. I'm going to actually bring up my thumbnail for that. That way you can see it. Every Friday night, I host Crypto on the Rocks. It is a casual conversation regarding at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it goes as long as it goes. And then after that, I roll into what's called After Hours Crypto. That is only on Patreon, on my paid Patreon memberships. and as casual and open-minded and sometimes edgy as I can be on Crypto on the Rocks, let's just say After Hours Crypto is even more edgy. For adults only. For adults only on After Hours Crypto. But Render, what I do on Crypto on the Rocks, I basically show you how you can take as little as $25 a week, dollar cost average into cryptocurrency, and change the basic wealth base of you, your family, and potentially, create generational wealth. Little as 25 bucks a week. Of that 25 bucks a week, I take 15 of it, we put it into Bitcoin. That's just where it goes, and that's where it stays. But here's the thing. You get to vote on where the other $10 goes. And this particular cycle, every 6 months, I change up what you're voting on, okay? Starting this week, this is the first week, you get to vote for DPIM projects, okay? Decentralized physical infrastructure projects. And we are, Render is one of the projects that made the cut. You guys voted for it, so it made the cut for this next second half DCA portfolio. So make sure you're joining me 7 p.m. Eastern time right here for Crypto on the Rocks. Matter of fact, come and join me. Come and join me live on Crypto on the Rocks. Hey, Automatic Beats in the house. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you being here. As always, we already got by Solana. I'm just letting you know. Beats is a huge Solana fan. So, all right, let's get back into this. What our current market prices are. Again, Powell should be coming live in about 13 minutes, give or take. And yes, I know. I'm sorry you missed it there, Automatic Beats. But go ahead, put it in down to, there it goes. A little lag time there. Solana to the effing moon. Yes. Yeah. And this cycle is going to be good for Solana. No doubt about that. It's going to be one of those projects going to do well. I am not necessarily a huge fan of Solana. However, I know a lot of the people who watch this stream are, and I appreciate all of you. All right, let's keep going here. So Render. Let's keep going by this. Hedera. H-bar. I'm surprised H-bar is still below 10 cents. Now, again, H-bar definitely a more centralized of the blockchains that are out there, but they're doing some great work with a lot of centralized entities to bring them into the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Right now, still down over 11.5%, under 10 cents. Great buy for H-bar, and then you can take it and stake it in if you go to my YouTube channel, go ahead into the staking section. I have an entire playlist about staking, and you'll see how you can stake your HBAR in the Hashpack wallet and make some returns for that. Monero, look at this. Monero is up even from this morning. I love it. Over 9% in the last 7 days, almost 3% in the last 24 hours, 177.78. And I think Monero is going to be one of the biggest players as far as privacy coins are concerned. And for those who are on this channel all the time, privacy coins are going to be, a lot of these centralized exchanges are delisting them. That's why governments hate them. That's why the US has a bounty on Monero's head. They'll basically pay for anybody who can hack Monero. They will pay for you to do that, which I think is hilarious because, why? Why do you fear it that much? Well, we're about to see why when we listen to the FOMC meeting in 10 minutes when Powell gets on here. The US dollar is dying. It's that simple. No, is it going to die tomorrow? Probably not. Is it going to die eventually? Hell yeah. I did a live stream not too long ago, was it last week? Basically telling you the FDIC report with 63 banks on the verge of insolvency, ready to just collapse. Boom. I mean, that's from their own mouth, not mine. I'm just reporting what it is and looking at it from a different perspective and giving you the option on how you can get out of that system before it collapses. Learn how to get out of that system. Link in the description of this live stream to my Living on Crypto series that teaches you, starts with the first interview I did with Joel Valenzuela. This guy is been living on crypto for over a decade. He doesn't even have a bank account. He only lives on cryptocurrency. That's the first in the series. It spawned the rest of the series, where I show you how you, as pretty much doing everything, paying just about everything. Some of the stuff does require a little bit of KYC, which, I'm not necessarily a fan of KYC, but you got to do what you got to do in order to utilize what we have currently for the level of technology we have. All right, counting it down. We're under 10 minutes now for the FOMC, so be aware of that. Let's keep going with the markets and see where everything else is at. I want to try and get to at least the top 100. Filecoin, that DPIM project did not make the cut. You guys did not vote for Filecoin. Decentralized storage, honestly, I think Filecoin is going to be huge in this particular bull cycle that we're in right now. $5.67. I mean, what was it? A month ago, it was up to like over $10. It's going back there and past that, if you ask me. Stellar Lumens, a lot of weakness. I'm quite surprised about that. Again, Stellar Lumens, I think goodbye if you're looking for XRP alternative. Immutable X, another one in the gaming and DeFi Web3 space, down. The Web3 projects and gaming P2E projects platforms took a major hit in yesterday's drawback. As you can see here, 15.9%, but that's after it's up almost 5.5% in the last 24 hours. So crazy amount of down on Immutable X, but good buying opportunity if you got the money put aside. Let's not forget the next meme coin, WIF, down still almost 20%. And that's, again, after being up. Look, almost 11% so far today. Crazy, absolutely crazy. And again, another one that I think, as far as meme coins are concerned, that's going to do well in this cycle. Hey, Chris Hanley in the house. Appreciate you being here, sir. Welcome, as always. Appreciate it. Cheers, by the way. A bit of a little bit of something to be able to listen to Powell and the bullshit he's going to throw at us in about 8 minutes. Let me just go check. Yep, still not live yet. I'm double checking before I bring it up here. All right, let's keep going. Optimism. I've got split emotions as far as optimism is concerned, but looking pretty good, down over 13% in the last 7 days, $2.17. Arweave, again, I mentioned it this morning. We have Library and Odyssey moving over to Arweave. Again, I don't have all the details about that. They did announce it. I've shared it on Twitter. So for those of you who do not follow me already on Twitter, make sure you do that. Links for all that is in the description. Matter of fact, let me bring that up here so everybody can see it. If you want to find out what all my official social media channels are, head on over to, oops, I guess I need to get rid of that or you can't see it. Head on over to Cointree, COINTR.ee/CCM. You'll be able to see all of my official social media outlets. And if you like what I'm doing, there's an opportunity to give me a tip in crypto there. And you don't have to do anything more than click the button. You can actually leave me a message as well for a number of the cryptos, but I'm more concerned about you being able to find all my official social media channels, because I can't tell you already, I'm not the biggest crypto YouTuber here, but I've got a lot of people trolling in my comments, and I try to clean them out, but I'm sure I've missed some somewhere along the line. So you want to know which ones are for real? Cointree, COINTR.ee/CCM for Crypto Coin Mindset. Appreciate all of that. All right, let's keep going with these markets. We got about another 6 minutes before they're supposed to go live. So we will keep going here. VeChain, I like VeChain, down 11.5%. Great buying opportunity for VeChain. I was trading that, bot trading that for the longest time, made some good money with that. Floki, another one that I think is going to do good. Meme coin going to do good in this cycle. Look at this. That was one of the big gainers, again, with the whole GME and AMC uptick with Roaring Kitty coming back, but down right now, over 25%. Bonk, another meme coin, down 11, almost 12%. And that's, again, after being up 12% today. So it down over 25% in the last 7 days. Most of that was the pullback yesterday. Theta, another one that you guys didn't vote for, DPIM project. They've been around for a while, down almost 12%, but up 9% on the day. $1.96, great buy-in opportunity for Theta. Let's see what we got here. Thorchain, Rune. You know I love Thorchain. I think Thorchain is going to be a huge player, helping people to be able to diversify into cryptocurrency. You can do on-chain swaps, chain to chain. That's not something that's generally available in most DeFi exchanges. Thorchain is unique in and of itself with regard to that. The Rune token, again, I was fortunate enough to get into Rune when it was about $1. So I'm looking great right now. But right now, Rune has been having a base price somewhere as low as the $5 mark. So we're almost at that low. I think this is going to turn around. It's going to be heading up as far as long term is concerned. Thorchain, Rune, I think is, I think it's where it's at. All right, let's keep going here. Algorand, again, another one, a great project right here. 16 cents down almost 12%, even though up 5 on the day. I think that that is a humongous price. Great price with regard to Algorand. Jupiter Exchange. If you're on Solana, you're dealing with Solana. Obviously, you're probably using the Jupiter Exchange. And look at this, down 15% in the last 7 days. And even though it's right back up there, this thing is under $1. If you are going to be doing work on Solana, then, I mean, great buy for Jupiter right here. Gala, one of the P2E options that you had to vote for back on Crypto on the Rocks in the first half of 2024. Look at this. Like I said, this entire sector took a major hit yesterday, down 22.9% still after being up over 4.5% in the last 24 hours. Crazy amount of downside. If you are into these kind of Web3 P2E projects, then guess what? Huge buying opportunity right there for Gala, because I think Gala is going to have some major moves going on in this cycle. And if you have not already seen the interview I did with Jason, say that 5 times fast, Jason from Do You P2E, 2 interviews I did with him, and the last one right as I started letting you guys vote for that in the beginning of January, and he was very bullish on Gala and what they have going. They got a lot of stuff in beta, and they're not just in the P2E space, but they're working on stuff with music. They're working on stuff with film. They've got all kinds of things going on with Gala. Honestly, I think they might have bitten off a little more than they can chew. But he was very, very bullish and gave a great argument as to why he was bullish with regard to them. So there's another opportunity right there. We've got about 2 minutes left before Powell's supposed to be live. I'm keeping an eye on that. Don't worry. I did not forget. Cheers, by the way. All right, let's keep going. Quant. Like I said this morning, I can't believe Quant is below $100 at this point. I really can't. This is a humongous buying opportunity for Quant. Definitely one of those ISO 20022 compliant projects in the cryptocurrency space, which is going to be necessary for what we got moving forward with the banking sector here in the United States. So definitely a good buying opportunity for Quant. Beam, another one that is going to be a humongous player in the P2E space, down 17.6% over the last week after being up 8% so far today. And still great price for Beam if you are looking to get your hands on some Beam. Axie Infinity was another one that was in the last crypto portfolio, DCA portfolio. That thing was up over $10. Look at this. It's down $7.19. I'm not sure that they're necessarily going to be as big in this particular bull cycle as they were in the previous one, but they still got building going on their platform. Lots of good things are still going on with regard to Axie Infinity. So there's another option for you. Neo, I told you I stake Neo currently. I'm still upside down on NEO even at this price. I bought it at the peak of the 2017 cycle, and but I've held it. Again, my whole process is you DCA into these projects, you hold them for the long term, and NEO is one of those projects that you can stake. So you get when you stake NEO, you don't get NEO, you get gas. It's kind of like Ethereum. It has gas, NEO gas, that is the money that is used to move things on chain, on the NEO blockchain. I think NEO still does have a bright future. It came in strong in that 2017 cycle and then kind of fell off the proverbial bandwagon. But otherwise, I think doing pretty well right now. We're going to get rid of that because he's going to be going live pretty soon. And I want to prep that because I want to see what the markets are going to do after we listen to him spew his baloney at that FOMC meeting. But right now, still nothing going on with regard to that. As soon as it is, I will jump right over to that. In fact, let me get that screen prepped so we are ready to go. And you can see that he is still not live here yet. This is direct right here from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. So still waiting for Chair Powell to go live. And if you did not join me this morning with regard to, with putting up the like, share button. No, I got a lot of new people in here. I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button, tick that bell icon, click the all. That way you get notified every time I go live. And don't forget, you're here, please smash up that button. I appreciate it. The like button help to show YouTube that, yeah, you appreciate what's coming on here and help to expand my channel. I appreciate that very much. But let's, well, you know what? I mentioned in this morning's live stream that Elizabeth Warren sent a letter to Chairman Powell, basically asking him to cut the rates, to do a rate cut like the ECB has done, to do a rate cut like the Bank of Canada has done, to do a rate cut like many others have done that she lists here. Matter of fact, I already got it up full screen here. So this was her letter, or a portion of her letter to him. And again, I'm still monitoring. So as soon as they go live, I'll bring it up. But let's see how much juice is in my opinion, Warren has with regard to Powell. I'm sorry. Warren and their anti-crypto stance, I think, is shot her in the foot. But just right here, you can see it says we write, because a couple of other senators have signed this particular letter today, to urge the Fed to cut federal funding rate from its current 2-decade high of 5.5%. This sustained period of high interest rates is already slowing the economy. And I talked about that in this morning's live stream. We looked at the jobs report. Yeah, the 80,000 new jobs, all part-time, most of which went to people who are other than Americans. That's first. And second, we lost 625,000 full-time jobs. So all this job creation that this stupid ass administration is putting forward is literally part-time jobs. Okay, part-time jobs. That's it. And so, paper clip in the house. Hey, if you're available, I wasn't, but I appreciate you being here, my friend. Okay. Still looking here. No, still nothing from Powell going live. Yeah, I'm refreshing the page to make sure it just is not frozen or something like that. And nope, still not yet. So as soon as he goes live, we'll bring that up and we'll watch and listen to what he's got to say. Still, he's scheduled to have started 4 minutes ago, but like in true government fashion, freaking behind the times. They're late as always. Anyway, to continue on with this, she basically says that, it slowed the economy. We talked about that. And as it's failing to address key drivers of inflation. Well, no shit. You're printing, and I showed you that this morning. We're printing $625 billion of money every single month. We're building $100 trillion of $100 trillion. Excuse me. Say that again. We're building $1 trillion of new debt every 90 days. Every 90 days. You cannot continue to sustain that level of crap and expect that you're going to be able to, lower in federal funds rate by 0.25%, so 25 basis points, and it's going to cure all ills. Of course it's not. And she mentions here that the ECB, the European Central Bank, has already mandate is the Fed, which I guess theoretically does, has already cut rates. And she goes on here to express they basically did a 25 basis point reduction earlier or the end of last week. Prior to that, the Bank of Canada, both G7 nations, as she mentions here, did another 25 basis point reduction. And then she also lists other nations, Sweden, Switzerland, Hungary, the Czech Republic, and I showed you Denmark, also cut rates. So a lot of pressure on the Fed to cut rates. And now couple that with the fact that it's an election year here in the United States. They are literally going to be trying to put money in the coffers of the average American, because why? Votes, baby. And the Biden administration, I'm sorry, isn't doing very well with regard to garnering votes I'm dealing with some lighting issues here to boot. But the Biden administration, come on, he's depleted our strategic oil reserves. We're down to next to nothing. I'm playing with the lighting, trying to make this thing work, and it is not working very well. How about that? Any better? Good Lord. A little bit better. Sorry, guys. But anyway, it's just everything that this administration has done is cheers. When I talk about the administration, I need a drink too. All right, still nothing from the Fed. I wonder if somebody is pigeonholed them in the bank and said, "You're gonna cut rates." I love it. All right, well, I'm still hanging on. The Fed is late. What's new? Government agency, so of course it's late. Should have been on live 7 minutes ago, but yet here we are waiting on the Fed. And I mean, what do you think? Tell me in the comments. You think they're cutting rates today? You think they're staying the same? You think they're hiking rates today? What do you think? Tell me in the live chat. Got a lot of people here. About 150 people here on YouTube. I got some people on Facebook. Tell me. All you got to do is go right in the live chat. It'll pop up here, and I'll bring it up, and we'll take an impromptu vote. See what's going to happen. Me personally, I think that Powell is going to shrug off the pressure and keep on keeping on, at least for another month or so, and then I think he's going to be forced to cut the rates again, much like I was mentioning, because of this being an election year. Again, still nothing. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me just prep that so it's ready to go. And I'll bring that up full screen, obviously, when that's the case. You know what? Here we go.
PCE is now forecast to be 2.8% by the year end. It's already 2.75. And after today's number, there were several forecasts on the street that it would be 2.6 at the end of this month. Does that tell you that the average official expects no further progress in inflation, and in fact that it's going to get worse? And if you have this wrong, doesn't it mean that you could have wrong the outlook for rates there?
Yeah, so what's going on there is that we had very low readings in the second half of last year, June through December, really. And we're now lapping those. So as you go through the 12-month window, a very low reading drops out and a new reading comes in. The new reading gets added to the 12-month window. So It's just a slight element of conservatism that we're assuming a certain level of incoming monthly PCE and core PCE numbers. We're assuming a good but not great numbers, and if you put that on top of where we are now, you get a very slight increase in the 12-month reading. Now, do we have high confidence that that's right? No, it's just a kind of conservative way for forecasting things. If we were to get more readings like today's reading, then of course that wouldn't be the case. So it's just a forecasting device. I think. Let me say that we welcome today's reading and then hope for more like that.
But if it comes in, just to follow up, it comes in the way you forecast it, it would seem strange for you to be cutting rates at all in context of a rising core PCE. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what we said is that we don't think it'll be appropriate to reduce rates and begin to loosen policy until we have more confidence that inflation is moving back down to 2% on a sustainable basis. And that's the test we've applied. I don't know that this rules that in or out. I mean, really, it's a forecast, a fairly conservative forecast, month by month, that would lead to slightly higher 12 months rates by the end of the year.
And
if we get
that CPI is so
better
manipulated, it's not even funny. And just so you know, we missed the very beginning where he said he's basically going to pause any hikes, but he's not doing any lowering. Like I said, he's going to just hold it where it is.
Nick Tamarosa, the Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, if I look at the rate projections, I see 15 of the 19 that are anticipating either one or two cuts this year, fairly evenly split between the two. And so I wonder if you could explain a little bit more the nuances or the differences there. Would 2 or 3 more inflation readings like the one that we saw this morning make a September interest rate cut possible?
So as far as the SEP part of that is concerned, as you know, I talk to all of the other participants on the FOMC every cycle, and we talk about their summary of economic projections and the their dot plot and everything. And what I hear and see is that people are looking at a range of plausible outcomes, and in many cases they're thinking, I can't really distinguish between two of these. They're so close for me. These are very close calls. But we ask them to write down the most likely one, so they do. And I think as you've said, there's 15 of the 19 are kind of clustered around 1 or 2. So I think I would look at all. I look at all of them as plausible, but I'd look at I think that does tell you kind of what the committee thinks. But what everyone agrees on is it's going to be data dependent. No one brings to this or takes away from it, that is on the committee, a really strong commitment to a particular rate path. It's actually just their forecast, and it's a combination of their forecast and their own reaction function. But again, everyone would say that this is very data dependent, and I don't hold it with high confidence. And I think if you're looking for and don't really think that they're not trying to send a strong signal that this is what I think is the right thing. It's just what they think at a given moment in time, subject to data. In terms of future meetings, we haven't, we don't make decisions about future meetings until we get there. I think in terms of what we need to see, I mentioned it earlier.
Well, they don't know what they're doing, so why not?
Gain further confidence. Certainly, more good inflation readings will help with that. I'm not going to be specific about how many, because really it's going to be not just the inflation readings. It's going to be the totality of the data. What's happening in the labor market? What's happening with the balance of risks? What's happening with the forecast? What's happening with growth? You look at all of that, and you ask, are we confident? Have we reached an appropriate level of confidence that inflation is moving down sustainably to 2%? Or alternatively, do we see really unexpected signs of weakness in the labor market that would call for a response, which is another thing that could happen. But again, we don't see that. And we see today's report as progress and as building confidence, but we don't see ourselves as having the confidence that would warrant beginning to loosen policy at this time.
And if I could quickly follow up, did you or any of your
I'm
colleagues
sorry, listening to him is just aggravating.
your interest rate projections after 8:30 or whenever you got the inflation numbers today?
So this happens too often, but it does happen. It just is, data came, I think it happened a few meetings ago. So when that happens, when there's an important data print during the meeting, first day or second day, what we do is we make sure people remember that they have the ability to update. We tell them how to do that. And some people do, some people don't, most people don't. And I'm not going to get into the specifics, but you have the ability to do that so that what's in the SEP actually does reflect the data that we got today to the extent you can, reflect it in one day. I think we'll see PPI tomorrow. We'll know more about the PCE reading as the month goes on, but the initial CPI reading and its, kind of first level translation to PCE, we did have this morning. We were briefed about it, and people were able to consider whether they should make changes. And as I said, some people generally do, but most people generally don't.
John Allen.
As you noted, the labor market is now in many ways back to where it was before the pandemic. I wondered if you could comment on how officials are viewing that. So do you think that there still needs to be more cooling in the labor market to bring inflation all the way down to 2%? Or is there any sense that maybe the labor market is more vulnerable now to higher rates?
I'll be interested to see how he answers this one.
Sure. So by so many measures, the labor market was kind of overheated 2 years ago, and we've seen it gradually move back into much better balance between supply and demand. So what have we seen? We've seen labor force supply come up quite a bit
because you printed so much goddamn money.
That's ongoing, mostly now through the immigration channel, but still we've had some increases in prime age labor force. In terms of on the demand side, we've seen quits moving down. We've seen job openings moving down. We've seen wage increases moving from very, very high levels a couple of years ago back down to more sustainable levels. We have seen unemployment creep up now 0.6 over the course of a year or so, very, very gradually. So you put all that together, what you have is still low unemployment, still 4% unemployment, historically low. But it's moved up a little bit. It's softened a bit, and that's an important statistic. But more than
again,
that's
a metric that they manipulate constantly.
Have, payroll jobs still coming in
okay,
strong,
4%.
even though there's an argument that they may be a bit overstated, but still they're strong. So that's what we see. We watch the labor market, of course, and the economy as a whole, but the labor market very carefully, and that's what we see. We see gradual cooling, gradual moving toward better balance. We're monitoring it carefully for signs of something more than that, but we really don't see that.
As a quick follow-up, the surveys that make up the jobs report are showing different tales. There's been some divergence, especially we saw in the last report that we got on Friday. So how do you interpret that, and how does it change your view on the labor market?
So sometimes you can't reconcile the differences. You just have to look at it and try to understand. And that's why it always makes sense to look at a series, in 3, 6, and 12 months of things rather than just one report. But you're right to point to the last report where there were job losses in the household survey, job gains, big job gains in the establishment survey. So
all
we're
part-time gains. He's not mentioning the 625,000 full-time job loss.
Nonetheless, the overall picture is one of a strong and gradually cooling, gradually rebalancing labor market. Job openings, while they've come way down, are still, greater than the number of unemployed people. The jobs workers gap is still a significantly positive number, greater than it was before the pandemic. So overall, we're looking at what is still a very strong labor market, but not the superheated labor market of 2 years ago or even 1 year ago.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Neil Irwin with Axios. Back on the rates path, the SEP showed quite a large shift of rate cut expectations relative to March. That's a period in which the economic data flow hasn't been that dramatic a shift. How can you provide some color on what changed in attitudes on the committee over the last 3 months to see a much shallower path of rate cuts this year?
Yeah, the big thing that changed was the inflation forecast. So the inflation forecast moved up several tenths for the end of the year. And as I mentioned earlier in the, what what did we take away from this? We had really, really good
We're
inflation.
going to
data in
go
the
at
second
least
half
one
of
more
last year,
question and
kind of a
see
pause in progress in the
how it
first quarter. And
lands.
what we
And
took
I'm
away
going to give
from
you
that
my 2
was
cents on
that
what
it's
I think
probably going
about
to
the
take
market,
longer
but we'll let him
to
finish
get the
this up and
confidence that
see
we
what the
need
next
to
question
begin
is.
to loosen policy. So the sense of that is that rate cuts that might have taken place this year, take place next year. You know, there are fewer rate cuts in the median this year, but there's one more next year. So if you look at year end 2025 and 26, you're almost exactly where you would have been. Just it's moved later because of that progress. Now you get different data today. So we'll have to see where the data light the way. You know, the economy has, you know, repeatedly surprised forecasters in both directions, and today was certainly a better inflation report than almost anybody expected. And we'll just have to see what the incoming data flow brings and how that affects the
so much better than anybody expected by 0.1%.
Gina Smiley, New York Times. Thanks for taking our questions. In the summary of economic projections, the long run interest rate forecast moved up a bit. I wonder if we should read that as a sign that you think that policy is not sort of as restrictive as we previously expected. You know, how should we interpret what that means about how the committee views its current policy setting?
So 2 things about that. One is this. You're right, it did move up, but I want to remember to point out that long run neutral rate of interest is a long run concept. It really is a theoretical concept, can't be directly observed. And what it is the interest rate that would hold the economy at equilibrium, maximum employment, and price stability, potentially years in the future where there are no shocks. So it's a little bit, it's not something we observe today. Today, we've got a very specific economy with all kinds of shocks we're still getting over from the pandemic. So it's, I don't think that the concept of R-star, it's a very important concept in economics and in what we do, but honestly, it doesn't really get you where you need to be to think about what appropriate policy is in the near term. But back to your original question, people have been gradually writing it up because I just think people are coming to the view that rates are less likely to go down to their pre-pandemic levels, which were, you know, very low by recent history measures. Now we can't really know that. That's an interesting dispute and discussion to have now. But ultimately, we think that things like the neutral rate are driven by longer run, slow moving forces, and you know, there's a really good question about whether those really have changed or whether instead rates and the economy are experiencing a series of persistent but ultimately temporary shocks. That's been the debate.
You keep printing money
meantime,
every single day.
With the economy that we have, with the distortions that we have. And I also, to your other point, I think it is the case that as time has gone by, the question of how restrictive is policy has become one that everyone's asking, and we're asking it too. And, you know, my answer has been that policy is restrictive. The question of whether it's sufficiently restrictive is going to be one we know over time. But I think for the reasons I talked about at the last press conference and other places, I think the evidence is pretty clear that policy is restrictive and is having, you know, the effects that we would hope for.
Of course it is. You're crushing the shit out of everything. Of course it's having the effects you would hope for. I just muted that a little bit. We'll let it run in the background here. Okay, watch it by all means. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll put the link to do that right now in the live chat, so you can go ahead and watch it yourself, because I'm not going to continue on with watching this, because honestly, I just can't listen to this guy anymore with the bullshit he's putting out there. You know, he's talking about all these metrics and the economy and how he's responding to it. And listen, you're crushing jobs, you're crushing businesses, and you're talking about getting things back below pre-pandemic levels. You can't get things back below pre-pandemic levels when you're sitting there literally printing $625 million a day to just maintain inflation where it is. That is not feasible. It is not possible to do that. And this guy coming on here and trying to talk like it is, to me, is just him blowing smoke up everybody's ass, because he's not going to be able to do that. Now, that being said, these meetings are important. They, again, because the U.S. still leads the way, even though the BRICS are working on their own thing, and even though Saudi Arabia is like pretty much with the petrodollar, and de-dollarization is happening all across the globe, the U.S. still exports this way its inflation across the globe. And the fact that he is maintaining interest rates right now just shows you that he is trying to push and stomp these things down even further. But he's talking about the CPI rate coming in at 3.3% instead of 3.4%. I mean, first off, what the fuck? And second off, it's like, listen, dude, you just do. I mean, the basket of goods, and again, I talked about this morning, I get it. The basket of goods that you use to measure the CPI has to change periodically. There's iPhones now. There weren't iPhones in the 80s. There's, there were typewriters then per se, and now you got computers. I get it. You got to change the proverbial basket of goods. But here's the thing. They change the basket of goods without changing the important stuff that us, you and I, the American people, are sitting here trying to like survive with and purchase on a daily basis. Gasoline. You got Biden letting out our strategic oil reserves. We are now at like all-time lows in our strategic oil reserves. You don't put in the groceries that everybody buys. Instead of the regular steak that everybody used to buy, let's put in the tofu steak because that's cheaper and it's the same. Who cares, right? No, it is not, because none of us eat that shit. And the few people that do certainly might be the vocal few, but they are not the majority. They are not. So what can you and I do? You know what? I can't even keep this guy up there anymore. We need to know what's going to happen with the markets. I'm going to go look. But I'm going to bet that the markets, and I'm talking cryptocurrency markets right now, probably dropped a little bit. They generally drop after these meetings, and he puts out, and that's kind of, granted, it isn't hawkish news. It isn't like bad news. He's not raising rates, but it is definitely not good news with a rate cut, which would, in theory, put more money in the market, more money into these speculative assets that we potentially see Bitcoin being and all these other cryptocurrencies being. So let me bring that up here, and we'll refresh the screen and we'll see how close I'm at to being right about that. So here we go. Here's CoinGecko. Yeah, you can already see before I even refresh the page. It was above, like it was about $1,000 higher. It's dropped about $1,000 since the beginning of the FOMC meeting. Here, let me do that so you can see that a little bit better. Bitcoin's dropped about $1,000 since the FOMC meeting started. And again, so you've got Powell saying he's not going to raise any rates. He's holding rates where they are. And, here he is answering some of these questions that are just like, I don't know. It seems like a circle jerk to me where he is concerned. My opinion, and again, I got the not financial advice, not a financial advisor, old guy interweb thing going right here. Okay. My opinion is that you need to be prepared for when this system does just shit the bed. And there are many opportunities to diversify your investment strategy and potentially put yourself in a winning situation. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to have something that functions like money. And Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, is exactly that. In the description of this live stream, a link to the entire playlist I did about the Living on Crypto series. Learn now how to use it before you need to use it. That's the idea. You need to know how to use cryptocurrency. You need to know which cryptocurrencies are the best to use. You need to know where to invest that money before you need to do it. You need to start ahead. And Paperclip here, he says, I love when you say old guy. Well, I am, man. I just am an older guy who pays attention to shit. But I appreciate the fact that you think I'm not all that old. I appreciate that, Paperclip. So again, link to that entire playlist in the description of this live stream. The other thing is, okay, I get it. Some people who are watching this, I've got about 150 people right now watching from YouTube alone, and I get it. Some of you people probably don't subscribe to cryptocurrency, maybe kind of use it in an ETF fashion, and great, I guess, get some exposure with regard to Bitcoin, for example, through the ETFs, Ethereum eventually through the ETFs, if that's your comfort level. But at the end of the day, you are going to be better prepared and better off if you have custody of your crypto. And that's the idea. You are autonomous with cryptocurrency. You have control of your cryptocurrency, because at the end of the day, that money that you got in the bank, that money that you got in your 401k, that money that you got on BlackRock or whatever other ETF, that's an IOU. That's numbers on a screen. It's numbers on a screen. Unless you can control it, which you cannot, it is not yours. It's that simple. Like it, don't like it. Those are the facts. And, you know, the FDIC came out with their report about the 63 banks close to insolvency. Granted, they do these reports periodically. It would be, know about that? Of course they do. They don't want people to go bank run everything, because then that will just literally collapse the U.S. banking system. However, you know, it's like you need to think ahead, because the FDIC can't cover everybody. I don't care what the government says, what the FDIC says. They're not going to be covering everybody. No one's coming to save you. You have got to save you. You need to be able to go and be prepared to be outside the system when you need to be outside the system. If crypto ain't your thing, well, maybe gold is your thing. You can DCA into gold. Link to Acre Gold in the description of this live stream. $50 a month. You can DCA into Acre Gold, have it delivered right to your door. Doesn't get much easier than that. It just doesn't. Hold on, let's see. I put one aside here. Here we go. Right here. Have it. Where is it? Right there. Right to your door. Delivered. DCA. Just like you do in crypto. Listen, end of the day, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to wrap this thing up because I don't even want to listen to Powell anymore. You can see the cryptocurrency markets are already starting to pull back a little bit. We're down $1,000 from where we started before the FOMC meeting even began. So I would think that we're going to see a little more, again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, as Paperclip likes to say, I'm talking an old guy here. But I think that we're going to see a little bit more of a pullback. Maybe not down to yesterday's numbers, but we're going to see a little bit of softness in the market before we move back up. And that's pretty much it. I appreciate everybody joining me here for the watching the FOMC live. Powell is holding rates where they are. Not going to increase, not going to decrease. We're here at least another month before he decides to do anything with regard to rates, regardless of the other banks reducing rates, regardless of Elizabeth Warren sending letters. Basically, Powell's like, screw you, this is what I'm going to do. So there we are. All right, so the rest of this week, live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., and I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin adoption. So if you're interested to see where this latest level of Bitcoin adoption is, you need to join me. We're going to be talking about that. I think you're going to be interested to see the companies that are investing in Bitcoin, holding it on their balance sheet. And one other one that it's been all over Twitter, talk about the irony tomorrow. The fact of the matter is, be here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Bring the weekend in with me with a drink. You come on, we talk crypto, whatever it is you want to talk about. And make sure you're here, because you're going to get the chance to vote on the next crypto dollar cost averaging portfolio. We're doing DPIM projects every Friday night. Talking crypto, having a drink, having a laugh. and I'm hoping you guys are going to join me. All right, I'm heading out. I appreciate everybody being here. Paperclip in the house. Yeah, gonna go watch. Oh, that's right, Trade Intuition. Listen, if you're just leaving here and you're interested in learning how to do trading, Trade Intuition is going live like right about now. Let me see if I can find a link real quick for him, and I will share it in the live chat. That way everybody can head on over to see him live, and he'll answer. He'll act if you ask, if you're in the live chat, and you can ask him to do some tech analysis on. Yeah, here it is. Come on. Copy link address. Here it is. All right, I'm putting it in the live chat right now. Appreciate that paperclip reminding me about that. I meant to do that. So here it is. It's in the live chat. Go ahead, head over, watch Trade Intuition. Ask them to do the TA on whatever you want. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. here, Eastern time. We'll talk Bitcoin adoption, and or Friday night, 7 p.m., Crypto on the Rocks. Bring in the weekend. You come on, we talk crypto, and you get to vote for the next crypto portfolio. I thank you to everybody for being in here again. Make sure that you are hitting that like button on the way out the door. I really appreciate that. If you're on Facebook, hit that thumbs up on your way out. I appreciate everybody being here. All right, that's it for me. I will see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Have a great rest of your